Me? I bite.
Mr. Turtle, how many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop?
I never made it without biting. Ask Mr. Owl, for he is the wisest of us all.
Mr. Owl, how many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop?
A good question. Let's find out. 1, 2, 3.
If there's anything I can't stand, it's a smart owl.
How many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop?
People don't think it's too much to make the rules. Ignorance and pretty in this all-out world. What if you don't have an answer to every
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Custom Underground Podcast, growing in leaps every day. This is not any episode. This is the judging episode. Unfortunately, as you can see, it's just the Mad Reaper and myself. The showstopper is traveling 30,000 feet above the air, and we will find out tonight who will win the Gift of the Gods Season 2 for a chance to win the Reaper Cup Season 2. And for the first time ever, the same person could possibly win both, which to think about is completely insane.
Yeah, actually. I never really, it happened last time.
Could you imagine the bragging rights if you win the Gift of the Gods and the Reaper Cup?
Be the first double crown champion.
That would just be insane. So
that would be pretty cool, though. I mean, hey, anything can happen. So,
is the Custom Underground, like SmackDown says, we are the land of opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, what a crazy week. I mean, first and foremost, we got to thank Nick Manawa for putting this up on iTunes. Check it out. I hope you guys are listening on iTunes. I hope you guys are listening, period. Through
Stitcher, Google+.
Whatever the hell, YouTube, anything. Yeah. Because we put a lot of effort into this. So this is the semifinals, and this one is going to determine, after today, we're going to know who is facing off in the triple threat. And hopefully we can have a legitimate
Well, maybe it's a triple threat. For all we know, there could be 4 people or 5 people. It depends how the voting goes. It could be a tie.
Well, I mean, we did, though, as a caveat, 2 things we got to get out of the way here. Reaper's got a little ground rules. The one thing is we did really push ourselves to not have a tie. That was tough because this round, probably even more than the last one, was very close. And we didn't have the excuse that it's like, hey, we chose something obscure like the superheroes. This time we chose, we made them choose each other's. And so we were comfortable as far as our involvement. Secondly, this is a semifinal. So I got to get it out of the way. They're all great customs in and of their own right. But the semifinals, you know, Showstopper said you two are kind of being meaner than me, and then I admit it. I am for sure, and I think Pat probably is too. But this is a semifinal, so these things, keep in mind,
both the semifinal and the Gift of the Gods, because you're coming back,
yeah,
and that's a big deal. So we're also tough on those guys too. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's going to be very, very nitpicky. And the last thing is that like art is subjective, and a lot of this comes down to, I mean, we're judging based off of our views and kind of what we think, and that doesn't mean that you don't have a bad custom. And I think even more so, we appreciate everyone who showed up for the Gift of the Gods, because I do honestly believe one of the reasons why we started this was to foster competition, because I think competition is probably the number one thing that will up your level and get you rapidly evolving. And I know there was some that didn't compete in the Gift of the Gods, and I had wished that they would have, because I think this Gift of the Gods was kind of very close for the taking. But I know also a lot of people do get discouraged with competing, and I think that the biggest thing is that this whole purpose of the competition is really more than anything a competition with yourself. And I don't want to sound cheesy, and this is super serious, but when you're competing for yourself, you know, you're the one that has to live with that figure or or work on your skills or get a little better. And what we've seen is a lot of challenging themselves, and we were super impressed.
I can
by
honestly say everyone is better now than they were when
absolutely. Yeah, no,
began this
absolutely,
competition.
hands
And that
down.
includes that includes NWF, that includes Beyond, includes everybody. I
That
feel like
includes the
everybody
judges.
is up their game
I mean,
so
you
much.
guys inspire us. I mean, look at Joey's work, how much better he's gotten, how much better I've gotten, because I know that which was not my idea to call it the Reaper Cup, that is the Chosen Ones, but if we're going to call it the Reaper Cup, I'm going to try everything within my power to make that cup have, to do its namesake justice. Damn it, you guys worked really hard for this, and if you guys are going to win this, I want you guys to be proud of it, because it was not a self-serving thing, but I hope that you guys see also what I'm trying to do, with my figures and pushing it, and you guys inspire me. So with that being said, let's go ahead and cut to it. We're going to go first and foremost. Okay,
I just want to say one thing really quickly. The Gift of the Gods, we started this because we feel there's so much insane talent.
Yeah.
And there was so much insane talent in the first round of the last competition and the first and second round and of this competition as well as the last competition. And we just felt it wasn't fair to say goodbye to everyone. So Joey, Showstopper Customs, you can thank him. He came up with the insane idea to bring people back. And I think it's a wonderful idea because everyone's just so talented and there's so many things. And I mean, you have first round matches that should be finals and it's insane.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That is,
and I feel like the Gift of the Gods, everyone chose wisely. Like Angel Falcon, he did Kenny Omega, which is his style. TSM is seemingly a huge Impact Wrestling fan, and he did Impact Wrestlers. Starvos went mainstream this time, which I felt serves him very well. He's done the obscure characters. Nick Johnson did Homeboys from Australia. He's going to bring it with that because those are his homeboys. And Lucho went with a Mexican trio. He did two of the three trios. And those are his homeboys. And he did it in Mexican style. So I think everyone chose wisely and brought the best that they were able to.
Yeah. No, and then you guys know me. I got a lot to say about everything. So I'll reserve my comments for the customizers. But I completely agree. And we're really excited. Yeah, let's go ahead and jump into the Gift of the Gods. So the way we're going to do this, since Showstopper isn't here, he's going to be possessing the real Chosen One and going through his scores. And he did fill us in. We had a group. Yeah, we have a
welcome to the show.
He does not talk like that at all.
That's how possessed people talk.
But we did have a group chat about it, so we kind of know what he's thinking. So without further ado, Gift of the Gods, who should we tackle first?
And just really quickly, he seconds everything that we just said about the Gift of the Gods and our finalists. So he was all about that too. So, okay, let's tackle Angel Falcon. Let's see.
There we go.
I didn't write down the numbers. This is bad. I better look this up. Hang on. Cut.
The totals?
Yeah. I wrote down the total, but I didn't write down the actual numbers. Okay. Ready? Resume. Okay. Angel
I'm not going to
Falcon.
cut that. Here we go.
We got an overall presentation of 7 from Showstopper. Painting skills, 8. Likeness originality, 8. Complexity, 7. And workmanship, 6. Now we have to go to the tail of the tapes here real fast. Let me just get to my final picture on here.
Yeah, here I can also try this. I'm going to pull it up on our Instagram page. Don't worry about it.
There. This is what Showstopper had a problem with. As you can see, the ab is slightly, not connected. So he marked down for that. He also said the ab was exposed and felt that Angel could benefit from smoothing out his work overall. Wow. Way to interrupt my thought. Smoothing out overall. So, yeah, that's what Showstopper had to say. Showstopper is being a little meaner than he thought, I think. I mean, he's being tough like the rest of us, not mean. But
is he, do you see my Instagram screen here?
I see your Instagram screen. I see Will's. I see.
Great.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, we got Showstoppers here. He did the Golden Lovers.
Not Showstopper. Angel Falcon.
Angel Falcon, yes, Angel Falcon did the Golden Lovers, and so Showstopper gave him a total score of
37.
37. So, I think Showstopper, and I'm sure he's such a giving person with information. I think his biggest complaint was probably the paint, and I think
he's very big on paints.
He kept wondering, is whether Angel's style is intentional, because he does have a very unique style, or very signature style, or what exactly what his goal was. So I think Showstopper had a little bit of trouble with that. But with that being said, did you want to dip in your scores?
Sure. Mine's so messy because I changed my mind so many times. All right. Angel Falcon. I gave him 7 for overall presentation due to the app being exposed. Painting skills, I gave him 8. Likeness originality, 8. Complexity, 7. And workmanship, 8. For a total of 38.
38. So, what was your biggest gripe?
My biggest gripe is a little bit of the painting isn't as smooth, and I'm the same way. I'm not sure if that's an intentional style or just the way he is. The faces could be a little bit smoother, but the main thing was the ab being exposed. That is a major flaw. That's what ended up getting Will in the first round. He had a little shoulder exposed, and it was a similar situation.
True, and these are very nitpicky too, and so
yes.
My scores are
a absolute fan of the show. We're an absolute fan of his. We're a fan of everybody's. We're being very nitpicky because this is the finals. This is the gift of the gods. So take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah, so for my scorecard, sorry, I yawned there. It's been a long day. For Angel, I did an overall presentation of the 9, or I gave him a 9. I was very happy with his choices. I think the Golden Lovers really played to his strength. He does a lot of great Kenny Omegas. Painting skills, 8. Likeness originality, 9. Complexity, 8. And workmanship, 8. For a total of 42. So I got a couple quick points here. The hit scans are a little rough for me. Not so much Kenny's. I can really, Kenny's translates well. Ibushi's is a little muddled for me, and the head scan, I think the paint is applied a little thickly. That being said, kudos to you, Angel, for going ahead and doing a full repaint. Those torsos do look great. I can tell that you painted Kenny's arms, and then it looks like Ibushi's full upper torso.
And skin tones are tough to match.
And skin tones are tough to match, but I do appreciate too the workmanship that went into them in regards to the torso choices. I think that was very unique. Using someone like Kofi for Ibushi is a very outside of the box choice. I'm not sure if it's better or not yet. But then the belt, sculpting the belt on Kenny, I thought was cool. But then also using the glitter there, I really liked that. I have a hard time getting past some of the line work, and I think the line work on Ibushi was really well done in his tights area, but in the boots it left a little to be desired. But then with Omega, the yellow, and I know yellow is a very tough color to paint when it comes to straight lines and being a solid color. The knee pads and the tights really kind of threw me off, and they were kind of a turn off. The skin tones, though, I thought you did a great job with the skin tones. My biggest problem with the skin tone is I feel like on Kenny it was great. As far as the head goes, I really like Kenny's head scan, and even from a distance it reads well. Ibushi's really looks kind of squunched together, and his face really kind of looks messed up. And I always thought Ibushi was a pretty good looking dude in terms of being able to see his face, and I can't really see that in the custom here. So to me, that's my biggest problem with it. Again, this is very nitpicky. I'm a huge fan of your work. That Drago still from last season was great. The character, you've just done great work. And to me, the biggest thing is though with Kenny Omega, and I think what it comes down to is, and I'm not sure, I'm not going to make any assumptions, but what I would like to see in the future is is thinning your paints, and I'm not sure if you do or not, but I do. I think so much of the art of this, and it doesn't just apply to Angel, it applies to a lot of customizers I see. You want to paint something and make it look like it should have been that color all along, versus painting something and make it look painted. If you guys catch what I'm saying, and this is really looking
Make it
at
look natural.
Yeah, this is really looking at the hobby in a 360 degrees here. But if you look at my Cody, I didn't really think much of it, but people were saying like that's the most realistic Cody they've seen. And then I start looking at it, and then you start seeing little things that maybe you've done differently. I can see you have a lot of talent, and you have a mind for the more advanced tricks of the painting of the heads, because you can tell that Kenya head you've used a lot more different tones, and as you'll see, that's a big criticism I have with a lot of the other characters and the other customs. But the biggest I can't get past the sloppiness or the looseness of the paint job on the tights, and to me, I think that comes just from adding some water to your paints. And now I did talk to another friend of mine about painting these painting figures, and one of the big keys was, you don't want it to be so watery to where you're doing a ton of thin water coats, and I do believe that there's a utility in using a thick paint. However, I would never go straight from the bottle, and then I would always go ahead, and I think that you want your paint to be a more milky consistency, so you might get a little bit of a better paint app with that. I'm not sure, but nonetheless, my score was 42. So let's move on to. I'll go ahead and cover. Who should we do next? Nick,
Whoever's
TSM?
on the Instagram, we'll just do it that way.
Okay. We will go with TSM.
Oh, that's who I had right in front of me. So perfect.
So he did OVE. So for me, I'll go ahead and do my scorecard here real quick. For overall presentation, I gave him 9. Painting skills 8. Likeness originality 9. Complexity 9. Workmanship 9. For a total of 44 out of 50. But explaining those scores a little bit. First of all, I was super excited to see these guys because I actually got to see them live in WrestleMania with Sam Callahan during that weekend. But the couple gripes I have. First of all, the good is the sculpting on the legs and the sculpting on the chest. I really did like that shirt design, and I thought it really fit the characters. I thought you had a really wise part choice. The other thing I really liked the decals in terms of the vest and then the other guy's pants and the knee pads and that skull. I thought that was really nice. My biggest problem though was with the tattoos read a little bit. I don't want to say this. It's not insulting to you, but to wrestlers. It read a little bit more like, they look a little bit more like prison tattoos. And it's not the way you've done them, but I think it's maybe it's the placement. I mean, one thing we all know for sure is that UFC fighters and wrestlers are some of the tattoo owners of some of the most hideous tattoos. So that's no problem of yours. But I do like the Jack Skeleton. The Jack Skeleton tattoo for me really read well. Though others didn't as much. The head choices, I did really like the head choices on the guy with the beard. I'm not too familiar with these guys, so sorry. I did look them up though. I did do my research. I just don't remember these names. I thought that hair was good, and then the one with the blonde was pretty good too. But I don't know about the eyebrows. I think the eyebrows are something that a lot of people got wrong. I've even seen Chargrove get eyebrows wrong before. But eyebrows are tricky. But then the other thing is, I'm not a fan of using one color to paint hairs. I don't like that because I don't think it provides enough contrast, or I don't think it really feeds the sculpt. So for me, the hair jobs were a little flat, but everything else was really great and solid turnout as well. So 44 out of 50 from the Mad Reaper.
The Mad Reaper himself. Right, let me just get back here really quickly to look. Okay. All right, we have the one, the only, Showstopper Customs. And he gave a 9 on overall presentation, 8 on painting skills, a 7 on likeness and originality, an 8 on complexity, and a 9 on workmanship for a 41.
Ooh, not bad.
He said very clean work and also on the paint, very clean. he was not sold on the head likeness. That was also a gripe of mine. I felt the heads were just a little bit off. I gave a 9 on overall presentation. I gave a 9 on painting skills, a 7 on likeness and originality, an 8 on complexity, and a 9 on workmanship for 42.
Nice. It's not
Similar.
bad.
Yep.
So,
Not bad at all. Who's next? Instagram, tell us.
boom, boom, boom.
All right, start. I have that right here in front of me again.
The artist
Amazing.
formerly known as Stavros.
He's really got to change back because this Biondo and Biondo thing is
I know. But he did.
But
Undisputed
everybody
Era.
wants to be like the Hall of Fame, the amazing Biondo, and I don't blame him for changing his name because if I could be Biondo, I would. But
so
or maybe I can be. People
Undis-
change things now just by saying it. So from now on, I am Biondo. Just kidding. All right. Anyways, Starvos, aka whatever he's calling himself these days.
Beyond Custom Figs.
Beyond Custom Figures. All right. Who wants to go first? I'll go first.
Yep, Beyond Custom
All right.
Figures, though. Follow all these guys on Instagram. They are all monsters, and they're all only getting better, so follow them.
And be sure to check out Angel Falcon's YouTube page. He has lots of tutorials and fix-ups and things like that. Very useful. Even Mad Reaper and I go on there and we'll say, oh, I didn't think of that. That's a good tip. So if Mad Reaper's thinking that, then everyone should be thinking that.
True.
All right. Overall presentation, 8. Painting skills, 9. Likeness originality, 7. Complexity, 8. And workmanship, 9. The Adam Cole was a nice touch, as well as the NXT belts that we saw there. The Undisputed Era are in great shape, but I felt Fish was a little too ripped. You see the Adam Cole there, and nice work on the tights, nice work on the tattoos, nice work on the boots. Starvos is always amazing, and I can't wait to have his Max Moon in my hands. And I also thought he did a good job with the heads. They really sold me. So let's see what.
So what was your
Customs had to say?
What was your total score again? 42, you said?
Yes, 43.
43. Very good.
Okay. So Showstopper Customs. Oh, I gotta look it up. Forgot about that. Okay. Showstopper Customs said, and I quote, give them a 9 on overall presentation, an 8 on painting skills, likeness and originality, 8, complexity, 7, workmanship, 8, for a total of 40.
That's not bad at all.
No, he said the designs were simpler, so he wished that the paint applications would have been smoother. That were his tips.
Yeah, and so, I mean, for me, I really wish I got to see Stavros' Pentagon from the first round, but I'm excited that he was able to get these guys out. I agree. I think the hits were actually a pretty good choice. They were really interesting. So the torso, though, the Neville torso on Bobby Fish, I think, right? Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really agree with that. I think maybe the smaller shredded torso, but I do know how difficult that torso is, so this might have been a decision that you made knowing as well. The paint apps, I thought they were pretty clean. They were pretty clean. I think there's a little bit that could have been touched up, but it's super nitpicky. But overall, I mean, I did really like these figures. I thought they were really good. So I got 9 for overall presentation, 9 for painting skills, 10 out of likeness and originality, 8 out of complexity, just because they really are head and then tight. I mean, really, I guess we can all minimize. I'm not trying to minimize it, but I mean, the tights weren't as complex as, let's say, a Santana Hoshi or Evil. And then the workmanship was an 8. So for a total of 44. Going forward, one thing I would like to see, though, is Stavros to really keep playing to his strengths, because I like the obscure characters. I thought that Max Moon was so badass. And I think with some more obscure characters, it would even be more definitive.
I think the obscure characters don't work with the current format of the fans voting, what we have planned for the future seasons, I think it will play to his strengths very much.
I agree.
Man, he's tired. He's had a long week. I've had a long week. But we are dedicated to bringing you the very best. So let's go, Lucho.
We are filming this on Wednesday. Showstoppers in the air. Pat's been on the travel all last week. I'm flying out tomorrow, so we're busy. But man, this is fun.
Not
for
only
us.
that, we're planning a new show for you called Custom Rescue. We are working on the first episode of Road Trip Wrestling. So things are coming in leaps and bounds, but we are taking it head on, and we are happy to be so busy. Lucho, I think these figures are really excellent. Again, Lucho played to fighting Mexican wrestlers, which were his homeboys, and he brought the Mexican style with the entrance gear, going that little bit of extra mile. So I thought all those were pluses. Now, according to Showstopper Customs, he gave 9 on overall presentation. He gave 8 on painting skills, 9 on likeness and originality, 9 on complexity, and 9 on workmanship for a 45 or 44.
Ooh, that's not bad at all.
Very good score. I gave 9 on overall presentation, 8 on painting skills, and that was because if you look on the back on one of the pictures, it appears to be some paint rub at the joints, right back the last one. So it looked like there's a little paint rub down there on the joints, so that's where I took off for that. Likeness originality, I think it looks just like them. 10. Complexity, 9, and workmanship 9 for a total of 45. And my notes were just what I said. I love the entrance gear, the slight paint rub, took it down just a little bit, but I love the Mexican style. I'm so glad that we were able to bring that to you. Lucha Punk and I just had a long conversation about that, how he's so proud to be representing Mexico and to be able to bring that style here and show it off and be a part of our community. And that makes me proud that he's able to be a part of it. And again, right there, it looks like there's a little paint rub toward the side there. Oh, no. Yeah, right up there, yeah. So, just nitpicky again, but so I gave him a 45, and Showstopper gave him a 44. What say you, the Mad Reaper?
So for Lucha Punk, I really like these. I really like these wrestlers. You guys know I'm a Lucha fan at heart. So for me, Vicious 666 and Mecha Wolf, Mr. 450. I was really stoked to see these guys once you stated it. Once you told Pat that's who you're choosing, I was really excited. Overall presentation 10, painting skills 10, likeness originality 9, complexity 9, and workmanship 8. So my biggest few gripes is I think Beastia 666. I'll go with the positives first. I thought he looked great. I think his paint, his makeup looked awesome. Insane. Yeah, I thought everything looked great for him. I do like. I mean, other than the fact that it's pretty much a paint. Excuse me. I really do think that it looks. It's got a really great resemblance to him. Mecha Wolf, I really like the walkout armor. I like the face mask and I like the fur. I like the cape. It's very luchadorish. But I also like the paint scheme. Those are some difficult colors to paint. I'm glad you chose a difficult paint scheme with them. But as far as it goes with the head scan, Mecha Wolf, I like that you have his mouth guard showing because he does wear a mouth guard and it is a prominent part of his character. What I didn't like, it didn't really translate like it looked like him a lot. He's got a very distinct look, and the hit scan was a really good attempt, but to me it was just a little off. And then the decal application. Of course, this is from me, so you guys don't take that however you will. I think I'm one of the best ones in the game in terms of decal application. The decals, I don't like being able to see the decal film. I don't like to be able to see the water slide film because I think that kind of kills the illusion. So for me, I'm not sure if maybe it's trimming the decals a little closer to the image or maybe it's employing something like a microsol or a microset. Regardless, those were just my only 2 problems. Everything else I like. So 46 out of 50 from me.
Excellent. And last but certainly not least, we have Nick, who's a huge fan of the show. We've become a huge fan of his, and he came out with some great customs. First of all, I felt that he was under the gun, so I think he would have probably done a little bit more of a more detailed attire if he had the time. And this was his first time doing tattoos, so I think they turned out very good for the first time doing tattoos. It's something that you have to learn as you go. Just do it over, do it again, do it again, do it again, and hopefully someday you come halfway near Rocket Jabroni's level. I mean, just half of his level would be insane on its own.
Well, I think Nick's definitely, he definitely got a ways to go to be Rocket Jabronis, but yeah, a very great attempt at first time for sure. I thought they looked really.
Just keep practicing, keep practicing, keep practicing, keep practicing, and maybe someday we'll all be halfway there. But I thought the front tattoo was a little bright, the blue one. I like the head choices. I thought he did an awesome time for his first time doing tattoos. I gave him straight 9s down the list. 9s.
Very nice.
So. And, coincidentally, Showstopper gave him straight 9s down the list.
Ooh. So straight 9s is what, 50 or 45? Yep.
45. And Showstopper's notes were he thought that this figure was a little bit cleaner done than the Lucho figure. So that's why he gave the go-ahead nod to Nick Johnson.
So for you, so far,
toys.
You have Lucha Punk winning.
By a point.
Yep, by a point. And then
I say that because this is how close these competitions are. It's a point.
I mean, absolutely. So for me, I'm not really familiar with who these guys are, but I made myself, look at the photo reference. I always do that when I judge. I really appreciate the full skin tone application. I don't know if that's a lot of things a lot of other people in the contest or customizers in general can say that they can do this well. And you did it. Because I do think, Nick, you are one of the best painters in the game, and I think it's just a matter of time until people start to really see your talent shine through. And this isn't me just putting my friend over. This is really someone I see a lot of talent in. That being said, I did have a similar concern as with Pat. The tattoos, I kind of wish they weren't hand-drawn. I think it's so tough, and of course, Rocket Jabroni is such a monster at it. It's one of those things that is so tough, and I think maybe going forward, what you may want to do is mix some of your colors with the skin tone, because I think that ends up giving it a little more skin tone cover. I'd show up my tattoos, but you can't see them anyway since the screen is on. But it kind of helps set it into the screen a little bit, or set it into the figure a little bit. That being said, yeah, great work. So for me, overall presentation 10, painting skills 9, likeness originality 10. I really did like the head work, but I really liked how they were painted more than anything. Complexity 8 and workmanship 10 for a total of by a point. Winning this thing for me is Nick, 47 out of 50. So
not only winning it for you,
yeah,
but Showstopper also gave him the go ahead. And I don't have it in front of me, but the fans went. Who did the fans go with? Oh, Falcon. The fans went with Falcon.
Yes.
So that means, congratulations, you are the winner of the Season 2 Gift of the Gods Champion, and you are officially not only back in the tournaments, but in the finals. So congratulations, well deserved. Your work is amazing. It's continuously getting better, which is impressive because it was already great to begin with. So keep up the good work.
Absolutely. So with that being said, let's jump over to the main tournament, and we will start with the NWF, and we'll start with Biondo versus the NWF. So let's go Biondo first.
Man, I just want to say to begin with, as I'm looking this up, this was an absolutely insane round. I personally went back and forth, tossed and turned, lost some sleepless nights over this. It was that tough to determine. And congratulations to them both because they came out wonderful. And
You're not kidding, though. I mean, we as judges...
I'm being serious.
Yeah, we as judges have been up texting probably 3 a.m. for at least Pat and I, and probably, 2 o'clock in the evening for Showstopper. But we have been talking about how difficult these choices are, and it's a decision we hope you guys can see that we don't take lightly. This one was really tough, but we did push ourselves to find a winner, and when we're being very strict, it's a little easier. That being said, go ahead. Let's talk about Showstopper scores, because I think Showstopper had a lot of interesting things to say about this.
10 straight down. His comments were, let's see. His comments were that if he had the choice, he would advance them both. So, I don't remember what else he said. Do you remember anything else he said?
No, I mean, well, as far as he really did like the paint apps. I mean, one thing that we know from Biondo is that he's got great paint apps.
He's a huge paint apps guy.
And was it you or him
if he
that
gives
talked
you a
about
10 on painting skills, you have damn well earned it.
Yeah, and so, I mean, was it you or him that talked about the entrance gear?
Me. I said that I felt maybe the NWF had an edge in the complexity just slightly, but really with the entrance gear that he brought on this figure, seeing it in its entrance gear, if you can scroll over, really comes back to, it makes it really tough. I mean, I could have called this one either way.
So let's go ahead and let's discuss your scores.
My scores were 10s all the way down, except for a 9 on complexity for 49.
49, and so, what were your biggest? Did you have any problems with this, or what was your biggest compliment?
I didn't really have any problems with this. I just thought the NWF had slightly more complex figures, so I couldn't give him a 10 based on that. But I mean, he did. You look at those wristbands, you look at the finger tape on the hands, you look at the paint apps, you look at the gear, you look at the mouth. I mean, that mouth is just amazing. He did the purple eyeshadow, he did the highlights in the hair. I mean, anyone would be proud to have a figure on their shelf. Look at that entrance gear right there. I mean, that's just amazing. That's a wonderful figure.
That's
Biondo is a Hall of Famer for a reason.
That's an exchangeable head, so I thought that was really cool touch too. So for me, I got 49 as well. I got 10 for overall presentation, 10 for painting skill. I really love the presentation. I love that people are going above and beyond, and Biondo is such a beast at that. Look at the Seth Rollins. He absolutely killed it, and this entrance gear really made it even more difficult to choose. Because I agree. I think the tights, he's operating with a little less colors and a little less busyness than Tanahashi. But this is something, oddly enough, I mean, it is a pretty mano-a-mano type matchup, given the fact that they did suggest each other as opponents, or each other as customs. So painting skills 10. Biondo is a great painter, and he's got his own style, and it's very clean, and it's very solid, very opaque. And then likeness originality, this is where I got a 9. I liked the hit scan. I liked the look of the hit scan. I loved the hair. It's got Biondo's signature touch on it. The one thing, and this is super nitpicky because this is such a badass figure, and he should be a 10 out of 10, but I did force myself to not have any ties, were the legs. I wish his legs were a little meatier, to be a little more, proportionate with the kind of guy. Because when I see him, I see Rhino, and we all know that Rhino figure kind of sucks. But one thing on Rhino that did look really well, really good, I thought, were his legs, in terms of how they shaped up to being that kind of burly person. And I think Evil's right down that line. So super nitpicky. This obviously looks great, and it's just a personal choice, but I do think that Mattel has done a good job at releasing a couple different thicknesses of legs, and I would have used something like that. Maybe not as big as a big E might be a little big, but it might have added that stoutness. I know that's what the Rhinos ones are, like a big E, but it really, it's
I
tough.
think it would have been better to go overboard a little bit than to go underboard a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, and the legs you picked are still good because they're not like the skinny ones, but they're. He looks a little more proportionate than I think the real wrestler looks. And that's not a that is what it is. I mean, it's such a great figure. 10 for complexity. What a super complex figure. The eyeshadow is amazing. The hair is amazing. The sculpted wrist, the wrist tape, and look at Biondo's. Try to find a part where he painted outside of the lines, and you won't because Biondo doesn't mess up. And for me,
he's amazing for a reason.
He's a legend for a reason. Workmanship, same thing. The sculpted wristbands. The torso, I just liked everything about it. The hair, the face. I think that's that's a Koloff face, not Koloff. I always get these Russian guys mixed up. But yeah, the USSR guy's face. Ivan Volkov, right? His face. I think that's a criminally underused head scan, and I think you used it perfectly. So if I'm right, then I'm a nerd, but if I'm right, then that makes me really experienced too. So I really dug it. 49 out of 50 for me. That being said, the NWF. And so...
the NWF future Hall of Famer. This is really the Hall of Fame bowl, because I have no doubt NWF will end up in the Hall of Fame, and Biondo is already in the Hall of Fame. So what an amazing matchup to see for the rights to go to the finals. Showstopper, once again, complete 10s.
So Showstopper had them tied, right?
Showstopper had them tied, even though you and I had to painstakingly not tie them.
But we both could have easily tied these as well.
Yeah. And I forced myself not to. So
Me too. Should we say...
just kidding, Showstopper, we love you.
Should we do your scores?
Okay, my scores are 10s for 50.
Thoughts?
So he slightly edges out Biondo in my score, and Showstopper has them tied. So it is all up to you and the fans.
What did you like about it, though? Let's give a little bit of feedback.
It's just a perfect figure, really. You look at the paint apps. They are complex. There's right there. Go back to that picture, the one that you were just on. Look at that. Look at those little lines coming out. Look at the details on the lettering, and look at the knee pads, and look at the back design on it. It's just perfectly painted. It's a wonderful figure. I felt the part choices were absolutely perfect. I love the head. Yeah, I mean, you can't say enough nice things about this figure, just like the last one. They're both near perfect figures, if not perfect. So,
yeah, no, absolutely, and so I echo those sentiments. 10 out of 10 for me for all of them. 50 out of 50, and just a couple thoughts. I mean, Tanahashi has a very difficult tights design. I think Biondo and you both had very similar mentalities in choosing each other's wrestlers. Evil was a very tough one too, and Tanahashi was super tough based off of his tights. That being said, I do know that there's no sculpting in terms of like what Biondo had to do for the wrists and stuff. But to me, the decal work, NWF does such clean decal work, and that is a talent. And I don't care, the no decal club could suck it because they don't understand what it takes to make a decal.
But both
before anyone hand draws a decal, you have to draw in the computer first if you're making your own. And so it still takes talent because half of you guys, like whatever. You guys have to be able to draw it digitally as well, so it doesn't make it any easier, any more difficult. That being said,
anything you do to the figure takes talent. I mean,
right.
And applying a decal perfectly, just like you mentioned on the Lucho, not to pick on Lucho because Lucho's a great guy, but how you could see the little film on there, it takes practice, perfection to do decals. And if you don't want to do decals, that's your business. But for me, I prefer decals when possible because if done properly like he did, they're perfect.
Yeah, and NWF is so clean and so crisp, but the robe really put it over for me. I couldn't find a flaw with this figure, and looking at the robe, the fur really just put it up from being a cut-up Sin Cara vest to being like, wow, this is Tanahashi. So what a great figure. 10 out of 10. It was super close, and Biondo did such a great job, and this one was
Biondo
the
and
closest
NWF should both be proud of each other.
to judge,
They're proud
because
of
they would
themselves.
both be in the finals if it were up to me. Fortunately, there can only be one, as Pat said, but via the Highlander, Tanahashi. The NWF is moving forward of this tournament or this round
to take on Nick and whoever we announce next. Oh,
That means-
and one second. The fans went with NWF.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I just want to mention that fans are very important. Right now, they could decide a lot of things, especially in our upcoming battle, because I think our triple threat is going to be close. So let's move on. Who do we have first? Shuffling my papers. Creature Will. I just can't say enough.
I'm going to switch to these other pictures.
Oh yeah, I can't say enough nice things about this figure. Everything that must have gone into it. He said it was a pain in the butt, but he's very proud of what he did, and he should be. Just the amount of sculpting, putting the fur on there, getting the belt right, getting the head right, putting the horns on. I mean, what an amazing figure overall. He should be proud of himself. I just can't say enough about this figure. So, let me look up what our good friend, the Showstopper, had to say, because...
Did you say your score? Was it 50s?
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
okay.
I've not done my score yet. I was just going to look in here real fast. Okay, 10 for overall presentation from Showstopper, 9 on painting skills, 10 on likeness and originality, 10 on complexity, 10 on workmanship, for a score of 49.
Very nice. So, what did you have 9 on again? Or what did Showstopper have 9 on?
Showstopper had 9 on the painting skills.
Okay.
I also had 10 for overall presentation, 9 on painting skills, 10 on likeness originality, 10 on complexity, 10 on workmanship, 49.
So what did Showstopper say about painting skills, what it was, or? I don't believe so. What about you? What do you think it was for? What did the painting skills, why did they warrant 9 for you?
At the back of the figure, there was a little bit of sloppiness right there, kind of in the back where the belt is. I just felt it was a little off from being perfect, but I mean, that's being nitpicky.
Right.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, I mean, actually, I had the exact same score. So I had 10 for overall presentation, 9 for painting skill, 10 for likeness originality, 10 for complexity, and 10 for workmanship. First of all, CAW gave you 2 choices, one which was this insane and the other which was moderately insane. And I can't remember at the time off the top of my head, but you chose Black Taurus. And that was very ambitious, and I thought that if done right, you had the ability to just knock it out of the park. That was one of the
first things I said. If he nails this figure, he's got it.
And
it was maybe he doesn't, but
it's a great figure. And so for me, I like the choice of the torso. I like the part selection. I do like the part selection. Yeah. I like the ability that you use a lot of mixed media, and it's something that I said off air, and I'll repeat it. It was really cool to see an American do a Mexican style custom, because I think the Mexican style is using a lot of different mediums, and you really pulled it all out here. You had epoxy clay, you had some rubber soft goods, you had fur.
And that's leather. Really difficult to go take
metal.
Another country's technique and try to perfect it.
But you could tell this was really a passion project, and the fact that you did this within 3 weeks is really, really amazing. I really liked the sculpting work. I liked the boots. Actually, you know what? I liked everything other than one thing, and that's coming from my experience. I've done a lot of Mexican figures. I've done a lot of luchadors, and to me, the skin tone is one of the toughest to nail out. And I'm not even sure if at times Mattel has done it. But that being said, I don't agree. I think that's a Valor Brown, and I don't like using that color flat. I think it kind of falls flat, and it looks a little too orangish for my liking. To me, it kind of looks like behind on Pat's wall. It kind of looks like a golden yellow, a little, or like a wooden, and it complemented the belt fine, but I didn't think it really made him feel like a human. And I know that's probably his whole gimmick, but that was really the only nitpicky thing I thought. At first, I thought that might have been hair. Then I studied some more reference pictures, and he's got like the war paint kind of grease black all over his chest and stuff. You really took an ambitious figure and you really nailed it. So kudos to you. 49 out of 50. It was an amazing.
And Showstopper said he liked the variety of techniques that he used, and he did them very well. Those are his notes.
And if you look at it, I mean, technically, Creature Will had the most difficult custom to execute, the most difficult wrestler to execute in this entire competition here, and that was because
for him taking that on.
Yeah, CAW gave him a tough one, and for me, if the only bad thing I can say is I don't really like the base skin tone. That's a huge compliment because you guys can see the dry brushing efforts that went into there. You can see the gluing of the fur. You can see the different kinds of fur. You have the black and then the brown. You can see the use of silver dots, which is something I'm a big fan of, obviously. It looks really great, and then for that to even be a functional kind of harness, he could have sculpted that, but he didn't. He used a mini O-ring, and then he wrapped the little pieces of leather around them to glue them so that they had the real world functionality, and that kind of attention to detail is very much like mine, I think, and I love it. I love the figure.
Will's a very, very creative person. He thinks outside the box, which comes in handy so many times when he's making figures. I think that goes back to his art teacher background. It's just amazing the way his creativity comes out.
Yeah, and he's such a humble dude. I mean, go check out our previous podcast with him because he drops some knowledge bombs. And so 49 out of 50, and we'll go to the next one. I think that's probably it. I mean, you can't say much with these customs that are so flawless other than just praise how amazing they are. So we're going to go to Chargrove next.
You're probably sick of us rambling on already, so we'll go on.
Chargrove, what did Showstopper have to say?
He said, yeah, nice. I didn't write that one down. So we'll go with me first.
Okie doke.
I gave him a 10 for overall presentation, a 10 for painting skills, a 10 for likeness and originality, a 9 for complexity, only because I felt Will's was a little bit more complex with the amount of sculpting he did, and 9 on workmanship. So I gave him a 48, which is a really good score.
Very nice.
Will slightly edged out.
You had him 1 point. Yeah, 1 point difference between him and Will. And again, Will actually got to choose. Both Will and Chargrove moved on in the next round because they were tied last one. So we wanted to run it back so we could have a definitive winner. I don't know if we ever got that, and I think Will versus Chargrove is going to be a rivalry for some time to come here.
It's like Dog Crack versus Rocket Jabroni.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be that kind of thing.
That being
really
said,
quickly,
this Pantera was a tough custom that Will chose. So go ahead.
Yes, very complex design. The Showstopper gave him a 10 for overall presentation, a 10 for painting skills, a 9 for likeness and originality, a 9 for complexity, and a 9 for workmanship for overall score of 47.
47. So for me,
but what a figure! It's amazing.
What a figure!
The paint jobs.
So for me, and this is just my thoughts here. Chargrove's a beast, and for me, knowing how tough white and black are to paint on a single figure, one where there's not a whole lot of room to mess up, or if you mess up, it better be with black and only with the margin, so you're going to make your zebra stripe a little thicker than you intended. This was a perfect figure, and so I looked at it, and I kept trying to find a flaw, and I think you picked a really great design. I mean, Will threw you a curveball with these characters, and it was up to you to pick whatever design. It was up to everyone to pick whatever design, and what a badass design. I really liked it. Most importantly, though, you killed the mask. The mask is sculpted so flawlessly that it doesn't even look sculpted, or that you won't even notice it. That being said, you must have sanded, you must have smoothed down. I mean, you probably didn't even have to sand if you smoothed down enough with the water.
Those eyes.
But the mask reads and the jaw reads and the little part of the face that you can see, it translates. And so I looked for a little paint chip. I looked for a little anything. Like I said, I was super nitpicky. I liked how the sleeves went half and half, and I really tried to study it, man. And it was so tough. But
Right
yeah,
there,
look at that
those
hit
work
sculpt.
in progress pictures. Always send those in because that can only help you show how much you went to your figure. Just
Yeah,
want to throw
very
that in there.
true. And so it was a perfect figure, and this is where I had a hard time because Creature Will did use more tricks for his, but Creature Wills did not require him to paint clean. And I think that the ability to paint clean and having to paint clean is something that really almost makes up for the difficulty of the leather straps. It's such a tough round. The sculpting, though, it plays itself out a little more. When you look at the sculpting on Chargroves, there's not a room for error. There's not a whole lot of room for error. When you look at the sculpting on Creature Wills, he could have done the horns a little sloppy. He could have made these armor look a little more distressed than he did. So, but that being said, you don't have to smooth it to a crystal clear finish. You don't have to paint it to a crisp line. You're using a lot of tricks like a dry brush, and I do that too, for denim. But it is not more difficult than the custom that Chargrove's done. So for that being said, I am separating from the pack, although I do really respect my colleagues. And I gave Chargrove a 50 out of 50 because to me this was super tough. And I'm still not quite sure this rivalry is over yet. But
I don't think it's anywhere near over. They both brought it the first time, and then they upped their game to a total new level for the second one. I mean, it's insane. I thought for sure one of them was going to slip up just slightly and not bring it as much, overlook their opponent. But man, this rivalry is still going strong. I look forward to future rounds where they go head to head. I hope they're going head to head again because that's amazing.
And the one thing that I think would have even launched him into better is maybe if he did have an entrance gear or something. I'm not sure if the wrestler actually even has entrance gear, but it was really that close. And if there was even just a little more cherry on top, I think for my co-hosts and my judges, my fellow judges, I think it would even be more difficult. But for me, I really think that Chargrove, you're a beast, and when it came to painting, you picked something that was really hard to paint. And in your pursuit of painting this figure, both you and Creature Will left a figure that's going to be really hard to top in terms of anyone ever making those figures ever again. And so I recognize what you've done. Wow, what a great figure. Let's go on to CAW, which Chargrove gave CAW some choices, and both of which were out of his wheelhouse. Ricochet being the one CAW chose, but we've never really seen CAW do someone who wasn't a luchador.
And to make things exciting, the fans overwhelmingly chose CAW. So if he should take this, we'll have a new winner. So it will not be Creature Will. So let's get down to the judging. For Showstopper Customs, he gave a 9 on overall presentation, a 9 on painting skills, a 8 on likeness and originality, an 8 on complexity, and a 9 on workmanship for a total of 43. Let's see. Did he have some notes here? What did he say when he was talking to us? I forgot. If you could remember for me.
One of the things was Showstopper doesn't really factor scale into his analysis because CW usually uses Jax figures,
right? And
Jax are not to scale to anything. That being said, he did use an elite. He did
not even to themselves.
He liked I think he liked the figure. I think he wasn't quite sold on the head, and I think that was probably his biggest.
The head, yes, that's right.
Biggest problem with it with Joey or Showstopper. How about your score, Real Chosen One?
I like the fact that he poured the Mexican style into this figure. I love the Mexican style. I love the mask that he did, paid homage to Prince Puma. I love the crown paying homage to King Ricochet. And of course, I love the robe. Trying to read my own notes. Task came out nicely. It's an awesome figure. The thing I think he suffers from most, and this is nothing against CAW, but the Ricochet character overall is not as complex as the other two. And I think that's where he's going to run into some problems coming up with the scoring.
I think,
and you echoed
yeah. Well, at least the attire he chose, but I think CW could have chose a more difficult Ricochet attire, did more of a full pants design, a full tights design, and really made this figure as complex as the others were, possibly. Although Black Taurus, he definitely was responsible for that, and that was a tough figure, but I don't think Chargrove wanted to hand that to CAW. Yeah, what an amazing figure. I think I want to cover up one of our fellow custom undergrounders here. Bubble and Squeak really had a lot of good things to say. It was probably in the next one here where he stated it, but the big thing is that he really was proud to see CAW go outside of his comfort zone, and he really was impressed with CAW's. Right here. He was impressed with CW's Ricochet. He stepped out of his comfort zone on this one and the Pick Your Poison and executed it brilliantly, which I couldn't agree more. The other two customs that I picked, but CW has my vote on this. He had such a humble approach from the start of Season 2 up until now, and he's done a wicked job. And he really has. CW, Carlos is no joke. He's a Mexican legend, and I would say for sure he's an also future Hall of Famer. I hope to see him back, regardless of the outcome of this, because he really pushed himself to limits, and he really made himself uncomfortable, which, these past 5 customs, we can all say that happened, you know?
It's really tough to push yourself and go out of your comfort zone, and many people in the world are very scared of that. That's why there are safe places. I'm not going to get political, but I'm just saying a lot of people are scared of that, and to go out of your comfort zone takes a lot of effort, and I think certainly our guys have done that, and this was definitely out of his comfort zone. He came through. I'm just so happy that, and you said this in a previous episode, that we are able to bring the style to America in some form and let people see how the Mexicans do their figures, how they put in a little bit of extras, like his original figure with the sombrero, the hat, just little things that they do. And I'm really glad that they're able to bring this. I hope both he and Lucho will be back in future seasons, because it's amazing to see that. I like seeing different styles. And we're obviously Lucha Libre fans, so that helps.
So, yeah, I mean, my score is I had 8 for overall presentation. I really liked the crown. I don't think that's done enough. I really liked the robe, and I liked the title, and I really loved the Prince Puma mask. Painting skills were 9. The parts that you did paint, which is, to my knowledge, the head, beard, and the tights, I thought they were great. Unfortunately, I think that worked against you a little bit. Likeness and originality, I did put a 10 for the sake of it being more original than anything. The likeness, my scale is factored into my workmanship here, so this is not including the scale. But the likeness did have the Prince Puma or the Ricochet type head. I thought that was really well done. I think there's a lot of David Otunga's done, and I'm not sure if they all look as great as they should. I probably won't be using a David Otunga for mine. I'm working on one. Nonetheless, I really, it was original what you've done, especially with your body of work taking this departure. I'm very proud, and you should be very proud of yourself, because it's a very great showing. The complexity I did at 8, and so this is again very nitpicky, and it's also relative to the other 2 figures in this matchup. Complexity, I didn't see a whole lot of complexity there. The accessories really made it more complex. The decals, I wish they were applied a little better. I can see a little more film too, and I think maybe that may even come from too much decal bonder. And if you guys make decals, you guys know what it is. If you guys don't, you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, but I guess it doesn't help you anyway. So maybe you go a little later on the decal bonder. Then the workmanship is a 7 for me. The beard might have just been a little too long. I think Ricochet kind of has a baby face regardless of his beard. And the torso really took this away from me. To me, there's a couple Mattel torsos that would have worked, and this is the difficulty of working with a scale that's not Jakks, and it's definitely not anything against. And I know Mattels are really hard to get across seas, and customizing Mattels and Jakks are just as difficult. You can have as much difficulty as you want. Go look up the Axe Hennig. If you don't know him, you should, because he's a customizing legend. And if you look at a lot of his work in Deluxe Aggression, you can tell that it matters how much work you put into it. So anyone who's saying that it's easier to do Jakks hasn't picked up a effing brush. So that being said,
look at Biondo's Glacier.
Yeah,
I mean, that was a
absolutely
great figure.
So that being said, the torso, with Mattels, you do have that option, if you have the availability of the parts, to do a little more of a realistic one. With our time constraint, it's very difficult, so I could forgive that a bit. However, I can't get past using a Stone Cold torso for Ricochet. Even though he is getting more jacked, I see him only getting more shredded, and he's kind of got an 8-pack like Johnny Mundo. So, to me, more abs would have been nice. This torso didn't do it for me, and it really turned me off, and gave me a 7 out of 10, or I gave a 7 out of 10. The kick pads, too, I like the Mexican style of having the actual kick pads there, but I wish that there was a way for them to not, maybe like a sleeve in which they'd go on, because I don't like being able to see the profile and the definition of the laces underneath it, and again, this is just Mad Reaper talking, and this is all nitpicky semifinals. So, for me, total out of 42 out of 50, which means out of this round...
I haven't gone yet.
Right. But I'm just doing a recap, which means out of this round so far, for myself at least, Chargrove is going forward. Chosen one?
For you and for Showstopper.
For Showstopper, Showstopper has Creature Will going forward.
Oh, sorry. Yes, completely confused. No. Wait. What are you talking about? Okay, yeah. All right. So,
last but not least,
cutting back
from the
into
top.
Our feed. Okay, I have CAW. What a Mexican legend. What a great guy. He's very proud, but he's also very, very humble. He's accomplished a lot. They have some amazing contests in Mexico. I'm hoping we can bring some more of that to America. I like hearing about the contests there, seeing if there are things that we can adapt to our own style, to try to do that. What a great guy. He's a legend there. If he continues in the Custom Underground, no doubt he'll be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I gave him a 9 in overall presentation.
Just wait. On one note, though, you got it fresh in my mind. We hope he does continue with the Custom Underground, but the World Cup that's coming up, we would really love to have CAW come up and lead Team Mexico. And if he doesn't want to, maybe dog crack, but we'd love to see Team Mexico in the race. So go ahead. Sorry.
I certainly hope that Lucho and CAW and dog crack will all be a part of Team Mexico, because that would be an amazing team and very hard to beat. So just recapping, overall presentation 9, painting skills 9, likeness originality 9, complexity 8, and just because it wasn't as complex as the others, and 8 for workmanship because of things that Mad Reaper touched upon. And that gives a total of 43. Again, what an amazing guy. We hope you'll be back for future rounds. But Will gets the nod for the advancement, meaning we will have Will versus Nick versus NWF for this Reaper Cup Season 2.
And $200 cash. So, I mean, in closing, I know there's a couple of people, we were wondering, everyone, if you didn't watch the previous podcast, what this round was you had to pick your opponent, you had to choose your opponent's character. choose your opponent's
Pick your
wrestler.
poison.
CAW, if he had wanted, I mean, if he had wanted to do a luchador, he couldn't have, because Chargrove gave him the options, and that's the way we made sure that they would have to pick wrestlers that were outside of their comfort zone. I think it really was an uphill battle for CAW as soon as Ricochet was suggested, because if CAW had done a Black Taurus, and I encourage all of you to go look at his Black Taurus, it would have gave even Creature Wills a run for his money, and that's something to where I gotta stress enough, and I'm not trying to minimize anyone's successes, but if you look at Beyonder from the first season, the NWF from the first season, everyone, this is a matter. This isn't who's the best customizer. This who has the best successful or subsequent run of customs to beat their opponent. It's just like a UFC tournament or anything. It doesn't mean you're the best fighter
There is
ever,
Black
but it means
Taurus
that you
with
beat a lot of
Black
people.
Taurus figure.
Yeah, and so. CW is such a great customizer, a legend, absolutely,
And great guy.
and a great guy. And I would
humble.
have liked to see this match. I would like to see this 3-way match sometime where they each picked whoever they wanted to do, because I would like to see that. And
Look at that.
this was this close,
Look how awesome that is.
right? But I mean, if you look at that one, look at the chest, look at the belt. That belt almost. Creature Will probably wishes he had that belt, you know? But, excuse me, yeah, what a great matchup, what a great round. Semifinals are over with, that means we have the finals.
You know what I'm jealous of, though, really quickly? Oh, hang on. Just went to the wrong thing. Well, anyway, I'm jealous that CAW gets to meet all these luchadors, and he gets to show them the figures, and he gets to have them signed and things like that. That's just... And they ask him for his figure, so they say, can you make me a figure like this and things. So I'm just very jealous of the Mexican culture and how accepted it is down there. And we just want to say thank you to everyone who participated in this round. They once again made it such an amazing round. You see many of those were determined by a point. I mean,
yeah,
and that's super nitpicky, and that's what it took to win this round. So whether you won, whether you lost, I just want to say congratulations to you because you deserve it. This round was amazing. Congratulations to Nick, our Gift of the Gods champion. I cannot wait for the triple threat.
And all those who competed, thank you guys for all of you who competed.
Everyone who's competed.
It was such a great season, and it's bittersweet going into the final round here. But that being said, we're not releasing
everyone who competed in season 1 and season 2.
Right.
I mean, it was amazing.
Season 1 and season 2, and we're not gonna release the name of the wrestler yet here, but we are going to have the last final. Everyone doing the same wrestler. That way. Gloves are off. There's going to be no doubt. There's going to be no ambiguity.
Same person, same attire. So it's going to be, you're going to look at 3 figures and you're going to see truly which one's the best. Hopefully, because these guys brought it so insanely. It could come down to one point again, and I think it probably will. And wow, I am like Pentagon when these matches are going on. I just want to see all the figures right now. It's like Christmas, getting to see them. I'm so excited. I'm mumbling now because I'm so excited. Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
So, that being said, we will announce who the next figures are going to be, but I was just looking at my calendar here, and May 20th, that is the next due date, and that is the finale. 3 weeks from when this drops. Yeah, May 20th. You're doing it backwards there, but...
I'm doing it proper. 2-0.
Oh, there we go.
It's frontwards to me, but yeah, it's backwards, yeah.
It's frontwards to me.
Anyway, once again, thank you to everyone. We will announce very shortly, if we haven't already announced, who you're going to be doing. It is mirror image, same attire, same person. Thank you for participating. Whether you made it, whether you didn't, whether you were out in the first round, the second round, whether you're in last season, this season, thank you so much. And thank you to our fans who tune in every week, who like our stuff on Instagram, who like our stuff on our Facebook group, and who like ourselves on our Facebook page. Without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. We wouldn't be doing a second show. We wouldn't be producing a show. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm the real chosen one. That's the Mad Reaper. He's got to catch a plane. Showstopper's on the plane. I'm getting on one next week. So have fun.
See you guys later.